Hey, this is Ruby from Sam and Ruby, and you're on Homorazzi.com.
It's Donovan from Homorazzi.com, and thanks for checking out my interview with Ruby from Sam and Ruby. Make sure you listen to the entire interview to catch an acapella version of one of my favorite songs from the album.
Did you hear about my clumsy, clumsy, clumsy fall?
Oh, hi Ruby. Sorry, I thought this was Natalie again. Yes, I did hear about your clumsy, clumsy fall. I'm so sorry. Are you okay?
I'm gonna be fine. It's like I'm just embarrassed.
Well, as long as you're okay. I mean, it's okay. I mean, at least it's a funny story, so you're all good to go, right?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being willing to do this again. I'm just really sorry.
Oh, not a problem. I promise I'll be quick. Just, because Sam answered a lot of my questions, so I'll probably ask a couple duplicate questions, but a couple that were specified for you. Here goes. You guys have this great musical chemistry, so does it stem from being great friends, or there's something more?
It definitely stems from the friendship of the matter. I mean, and regardless, like, if anything, like, friendship first, right?
Right.
So, yeah, our music just, like, is better, I think, because we there is that friendship. You know what I mean? I think, like, a lot of people kind of ham it up and fake it and say, like, no disrespect to, like, can you duet and stuff like that, but ours is just, like, really really natural, and I think that's why, like, when we get together and write songs, like, it's not contrived,
No, and I think it shows in your music too. Like, it's a very natural, sort of organic kind of a duo.
Awesome, thanks.
I was reading your bio, and it says that you grew up Christian, and where you were only allowed to listen to non-secular music, like Christian music. But then eventually you got your hands on Madonna's "Like a Prayer" when you were about 10, and it opened up your world. So, how do your parents feel about your current music and you making a career in this industry?
My parents are so all good now. I mean, I think having come from another country, like, having come from Ghana, there was this kind of speculation that all American children were not disciplined, like,
Right.
talk back to their parents and things like that. And so I think my parents just thought that, okay, if we just shelter these kids, then maybe that, they won't turn into, like, crazy rebellious kids. But
Right.
I think, like, because my parents were, I mean, truly, like, my dad was a total hippie, and he, like, loves all different kinds of music, and he's got crazy stories from his life. I think they were just nervous, like, coming to America, like, what is it going to be like? But once they realized that we were good kids, I think they started opening those doors for us again, and they love all different kinds of music. Like, my dad specifically, was, like, so into everything, and so now I think they know that we have turned out to be just fine. We're functioning adults, and so the decisions we make, I think they trust now.
Cool.
One of those, my choice of career.
No, for sure, yeah. You mentioned that you were born in Ghana. What age did you leave? And have you been back?
I was 1 month away from 3.
Okay.
And I finally went back 2 years ago for my grandmother's 80th birthday. Like, because it's just really expensive to get a family of 5 over
sure.
there. And but my grandmother, she was like, seriously, it's my 80th birthday, and I want everyone who came for me to be here. No questions asked. And so we pulled our resources together. Yeah.
So was it great? Was it a big of culture shock considering you were 3 when you left, or?
Yeah, yes and no. There was the culture shock piece of it, but there was also the shock of looking at all of these people and touching these faces who actually looked like me for the first time in my life, like seeing that, because, like, you come here and you leave, so, that connection piece, that, that family thing. And it's like we all go through times where, we're not with family. And so being able to connect to that, I kind of felt like I was, like, not, I mean, like, I felt like coming to America sometimes I felt like an adopted kid,
Yeah.
or like, I don't know, I mean, and I believe in adoption, and I'm going to adopt kids one day, but just in that sense of, like, you have to work really hard to feel like you belong.
No, I totally get
I,
you. Yeah.
yeah, so I felt like it took me so long to feel like I really belonged here, so when I went back there, like, it just was like a flood of complete acceptance, and I hadn't really ever had that, like, just because you are who you are, you're like, because you have the same blood, you're accepted, and that was so awesome.
No, for sure.
I don't want to say that piece about the same blood, because like I really do, like, I'm really now in my life like thinking hardcore about adoption, and because I can't have children, and I just found, like, that happened in the last year, and like I really do believe that even just because a kid can't come out of my body doesn't mean, it's not the same love, and like we're not going to be family, and I just kind of wanted to say that.
No, no, for sure, and I agree. Like, I'm gonna
So
adopt as well myself,
yeah.
so I totally relate. And coming from not North America, I totally understand what you're saying as well too. So I totally feel you.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Um, y- Actually, I don't know if you might get offended by this, but when I heard "Suitcase Song," your voice sort of had like a Dolly Parton s quality. Have you ever heard that before? Or
It's so funny. Yeah, I mean, a couple of times I've heard it, and I mean, hey, I'll take it. She's phenomenal, and I love her. I've discovered her late in life. I discovered her like in my 20s, but I think the music I was connecting to, she was all up in that music, and I didn't even know. Like when I was younger, and did open up like that bluegrass whole door, it's like, my gosh, of course Dolly Parton is like right in the center of that, and she influenced so many people.
I know
Um,
I love her to death. So yeah.
I love her, just like absolutely. So yeah, I know. I mean, I totally take it. I'm like, seriously? I'm like so honored. I'm like, seriously?
So who are your musical influences growing up? After
uh,
like you discover Madonna, like who else? Sort of like
After the Madonna
yeah.
thing, well, like I really did. I started getting into I'll just do the ones that come to mind like readily.
Okay.
Indigo Girls,
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
huge. Yeah, they're, oh my gosh, they're songwriting. They're just the melodies, the notes they choose to go to, the lyrics. I just really connected with it because it felt like how I write songs, and it was just finally hearing somebody who I didn't feel like I was wrong or alone. I guess like they were doing it in that way, and also Peter Gabriel was a big one for me, which is
Sledgehammer for sure.
funny. Yeah, it was like, it was really big, and I would say that influenced my super pop album that came out in '03 in the UK. Like that really influenced me. Obviously, it's like Madonna and Peter Gabriel really influenced that whole side, because it was really fun to get to kind of step outside of like the norm of me writing my little folky girl songs and go to Europe and be able to bring out that side that was so in there, and I just got to play with a bunch of different colors on the palette wheel for that record.
Well, that was part one of my interview. Be sure to check out part two. It's pretty friggin' awesome. Later.